Hi, welcome to episode 31, which is also week 2 of Vlogmas. This is Novel Knits and my name is Danelle. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really glad you're here. Sorry I'm a day late. We had some drama, but I'm here. Welcome. I'm going to do a couple administrative things really quick and then we're going to jump into the yarn explosion that I have in front of me. We are on the final weeks of my 2-year-long make-along. So if you're participating, please use the hashtag ShopYourStash2022 or go on Ravelry and use the groups on Ravelry for Shop Your Stash 2022 and Sweater Year 2022. So finish your sweaters, shop your stash. If you do both, double dip with any other make-alongs. And thank you, a huge heartfelt thank you to everyone who's been participating. It has been a lot of fun. Okay. And the next order of business is I have a winner from my 2-year podiversary episode. I am so thankful to all of you who've been watching, whether it's your first episode or if you've been here for 2 years, if you binged watched me, thank you. Oh goodness, I'm not sure I could binge watch me, but if you did, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who took the time to leave a lovely comment. You guys are all so very, very nice. So the winner is Judy Yoder. Thank you so much, Judy. And please send me your address on either Instagram or Ravelry and I will get this out to you. So hopefully you have an extra little Christmas treat that you get to have. And reach out to me and I'll get this out to you in the mail. Okay, I have been knitting a lot. I finished some things, but not as many as I hoped. So I'm not stressed out yet, but I'm sure it will come. First finished object is what I am wearing. I am wearing the Notion pullover. This is a test knit by Tiff Nealon. It will be released tomorrow if I get this out today, which I'm hoping to. So let me stand up and show you really quick as well as I can. It has ripped hem, 4 strands of fingering weight held double to create bulky, and it's got these really interesting sleeves, which I really like. So the yarn that I used is Knit Picks Stroll in Midnight Heather is kind of this main color, and then I held it with 2 strands of Stranded Dye Works in the Shiner color, and I feel that it gives off this like really nice gothy vibe, which I am definitely feeling. I like it very much. It was fun to make. The only thing I'm not sure about is right here, I've got a little extra fabric. I think that is on me. 2 things happened. It grew with blocking, which I knew it was going to. You know how sometimes you're like, yeah, it's gonna block and give me length, and then you forget it's also gonna maybe block out a little bit. That's what happened. And the other thing that I think happened is when I blocked it, I had the sleeves kind of like, I think that's why they look a little puffy. I think I should have stretched the sleeves out and it probably would have blocked better. I'm not gonna reblock it right now. I'll get through the season, and when I wash it again, I'll take more care in blocking this area so that hopefully it comes out better. Super happy with it. I really love these cuffs. I almost didn't do it. I almost just did ribbing, but then I decided to go ahead and do this split garter cuff, and I really like them. It adds a little something without being too out there, like it's not a bell sleeve. And it's got enough structure that like if I really wanted to like just fold it up for more structure, it definitely works like that too. So I'm really pleased with this. Bulky weight, so you can either make it with 2 strands of DK held together or 4 strands of fingering. Very easy raglan construction. I wanted to use this yarn together for a long time and I finally did. I love it. I think it's great. Another wonderful pattern by Tiff Nealon. Okay, last week I was like, what am I gonna do for ornaments? I have to make a bunch quickly. A couple of you had some great suggestions that included crochet, which I did think about for a hot minute. Like, crochet goes fast. I'm a pretty poor crocheter. So I thought my learning curve might be a little, I think I need a little bit more time before I would jump into something that I was gonna give to someone out of crochet, but I did think about that. And then I just like typed in ornaments or a Christmas tree or something, but I don't know. These ornaments came up. I forgot who the designer is. I believe they're just called Christmas trees, and they're awesome. So I made a bunch of them this week. I'm done. I just have to weave in the ends, add some bling, put loops on them, and they are ready for gifting. 20 minutes an ornament. I mean, I don't think you have to slave over something for it to be meaningful and lovely, and I'm just so happy with these. So I'm going to show them now. The yarn that I used is not stash yarn. I'll talk about that after I show them. But here they are. Here's the first one. I love it. I have a lot of nephews, which I think I explained last week. So it's a lot of blues. I love this one with all the colors. So good. This one's good too. I love this one. Sorry, sometimes they spin, sometimes they don't. I think this is the front. This one. Some of them have some sparkle. I don't know if that'll come up on the camera. I love this one with all the colors. This one. This one's fun. And last but not least, this one. The yarn is the Yarn Therapist's yarn. This is not stash, so I cannot claim this as stash yarn. Earlier this year, the Yarn Therapist sold mini sweater advents, and they were a surprise. You didn't really know what you're getting. You could buy winter or Christmas. I got both. And so the way the Yarn Therapist yarn generally works is she'll do like a striped sweater yoke, and then you just get the yarn for the striped sweater, and then the rest of for the striped yoke, and then the rest of the sweater is in a solid. Her yarn doesn't go into the solids, but these minis did. So that's why some of these have like a lot of striping to them, and some of them have less, because then I was getting into the body part of these skeins that she created, and I really think it turned out great. I held two strands together and just kind of went with what came out of it. It was really fun, and I was really happy. I have a lot of yarn left over, so I might make myself a pair of stripy socks, or I might make more ornaments. I'm not sure, but and it's super soft. Like, I almost feel like these should be something besides just ornaments, because they are very, very, very soft. But it was, I kind of felt like, will I be mad at myself later that I used this yarn for something different than it was intended? And then I thought, no, I'm thrilled with these, and I think they turned out so good. So here's my little stack. I was kind of thinking maybe I would make double the amount, so that like I could put two together and sew them together, and then they would kind of have two sides. But I thought, that's just more work than I need, and I can add some I have these rhinestones that have glue on the back, and then you just heat them on. It's super easy to use. I just thought I'll just bling them up a little bit, and they will be so good for ornaments and Christmas gifts this year, and I'm really happy. Last year I did bulbs, and they were really nice. The year before I did like hats and sweaters, and I think a mitten. So I mean, I've done everything. I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. I'll probably have to think about it a little bit sooner. Maybe I'll start like going into, I think I have some like much more like extensive ornaments, like a nutcracker in my library and like a ballerina. Like, maybe I start to go that direction and just start them before December. I'm not really great at remembering those kind of things though. And then my last finished object for this week is the Horntail Beanie by Jenny Noto of Wanded. I love this. And the yarn is Ginger Snap yarn in Storm Cloud. It is so soft, so beautiful. I love it. I would keep it for myself, except my daughter has 3 dance coaches, and I think they're all gonna need a present this year. So this is gonna be for one of them. I am gonna add a yarn pom-pom to the top. So it's 98.9% done. Just need to make a quick pom-pom and attach it to the top. But I'm gonna do that once I finish all of the hats that need pom-poms, and then I'm just gonna do pom-poms all at once. I've got about a week for that. I'm gonna make it, you guys. I'm not stressed yet, so I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. So those are all my finished objects for today. Let's move into the works in progress, because there has been progress made for sure. I need a quick sip of tea. I'm just drinking English breakfast tea. It's my 3rd cup. I don't normally have 3 cups of tea, but it's cold and I'm tired. My daughter had a little bit of an accident last week. She's on the varsity dance team at school, which is the POMS team, and they had a disappointing competition, so they were making some changes going into this past weekend's competition. The changes were great. The team ended up doing really well. My daughter did not end up competing because she was doing a forward somersault on the cafeteria floor because they had been kicked out of the gym, because the POMS team always gets kicked out of the gym, right? And she must have done something horribly wrong, because she's been doing somersaults since she was about 2 years old, and she landed and hit the back of her head and got a mild concussion. The trainer, so the coaches, good on them, they took her right to the trainer, and the trainer said, like, oh, I don't see signs of a concussion. So she came home, she said her head hurt, she went to bed. She woke up the next morning, she felt pretty good, but they made her go see the trainer again, and then she scored with a mild concussion. So she was out for the competition, which she was devastated by. And then, you know, she's had some symptoms, nothing terrible. Sounds don't really bother her, but bright lights do. And last night she had some dizziness. So it's just been meh. They did everything right. Just accidents happen, right? And I don't know why I got into that story, but I did have some driving time this weekend because we ended up going to the competition, even though my daughter did not compete. We did not send her with the team. We didn't want her on a bus. So we all drove up with her, and we let her be there just while the team competed, and then we took her home, and she wore sunglasses, and, you know, we did the best we could. It means a lot to her to be on this team, so we still wanted to be there to support everybody. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. A somersault and she got a concussion. Anyway, so I am working on the hats for the coaches. So I have 2 more in progress, so I'll show those quickly. This is another pattern by Jenny Noto, and I have to say I'm not enjoying this one as much. This is called the Tentacula hat. I am probably saying that wrong. Wanded Jenny Noto. She's got a ton of patterns, and I know most of them, maybe not all of them, but they are for like worsted, bulky, and super bulky. So if you have something that'll work for any of those weights, you can pretty much make the hat. It's really nice. So, and they show this one on the pattern page in 2 colors. I'm making it in 1 color. I don't love the stitch, so I just have to commit to it and finish this hat, and then we'll be able to move on, but here it is. I'm sort of wishing that I would have just done another horntail beanie, but then I thought, I don't want to give 2 coaches the same hat and then 1 coach a different hat, so I'm trying to do different patterns for all 3 of them, which I think is the right move. So this is more ginger snap yarn. This one is called Pleasant Cove. It's a gray with beautiful speckling. Really love her tag. Gray with speckles is, as you guys know, one of my favorites. It's very light. I think this will make a great hat. I hope this ends up being as lovely and fantastic as the horntail beanie. I think I just don't enjoy the stitch, and once I commit to doing it, it'll go really quickly. I'll probably finish it in a couple hours, and then I can attach pom-pom and it'll be good to go. So that is that hat in progress. I will finish this one this week because I have to. There's no option for failure there. And then the other coach, I'm gonna let Claire decide which coach gets which hat. This is the Blurry Flurry hat by Cozy Up Knits. It doesn't look like I made much progress, but I actually did. This is a black and white photo, so you're not really gonna be able to see. This is also using Ginger Snap yarn. This is Pixel yarn, and it's a worsted weight yarn. And I've just finished the brim and have just moved into my second ball of the Pixel yarn, which is a color changing yarn. Here it is. So it starts with that gray on the inside and then moves into this like burgundy. So I did the gray twisted rib, which is what the pattern called for, and I did it long enough to be folded brim. So that will be what it looks like. This was the whole skein of the gray. So yeah. So I'm gonna move into this color next, and I just started on what the pattern for the hat is, and then it'll end in this, and if I have enough of this, this will be a pom-pom on the top. So I'm hoping that all three hats have pom-poms on top. It just kind of depends on how the yarn, how far this yarn goes. So, but yeah, I think this will be a nice hat. It's gonna go really fast now that the brim is done. I don't love 1x1 ribbing, so doing it on a hat is fine. Like, especially if it's worsted or bulky weight, I'm okay with it, but oh man, if I have to do it in figurine weight, which is the case for, you know, another hat that I announced I was gonna make for a gift last week, but I think I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do that because it's fingering weight yarn and a lot of ribbing, and I don't have time for that right now. So I'm switching things around as always. I always make plans and goals. I don't always stick to them. And you know what? I get to choose my own adventure with my knitting, so I think it's fine. Okay, let's switch gears and go into a couple socks really quickly. If you are also doing the Woolens and Nosh Advent 2022 socks and are not caught up, you may want to look away if that bothers you, or if you don't care, then I'm going to be showing them next because I absolutely love them. I love all my Advent socks. I did a pair last year by the Wool Baron, which I wore recently, and they are fantastic. And then prior to that, I made a pair from Mustache Yarn. It was her Hobbit, something Hobbit socks. And I didn't really realize they were Advent socks when I made them, and I didn't make them during Advent, and it's all fine, but I love those too. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I love these. And part of it is the experience for sure, but I love how the colors are coming out. I think it's so well done. She does this stripe of this dark color in between every stripe. So they come wound in this bag, and then you pull from each side to do them two at a time, or you could, you know, do them however you want, but this is how it comes. So then if you don't want to see the next day's color, you just stop when it gets to that dark color. I don't mind getting a little peek of the next day, so I kind of just let it come through, and I'm cool with it. So, but yeah, I've been doing these one stripe a day. I didn't know if I'd go faster, but I'm really enjoying it. And this is the Progress Keeper that came with it. It's from Charmed and Dangerous, and I'm just loving these. They're great. So two at a time. I am using this cord that I think is a 32-inch cord, and it's a little short. So sometimes I feel like this sock is like hanging precariously close to that edge, but I haven't lost anything yet, and I think we're good. But I'm loving these. They're bringing me joy this Advent season. Okay, and then my sister-in-law, her birthday socks are coming along. I worked on these for 2 hours in the car and even in the bleachers at my daughter's Poms competition, and I'm surprised I'm not further, actually. These have to be done this week, so this might be, I'll show these in one way or another next week, but this is the last time you should see them in progress, and I have got yarn. Holy cow. Do I have yarn barf? Holy cow, what happened? I'll figure that out later. Here they are. They're coming along great. I've talked about these a lot, so I'll be very quick. This is Rose Hill Yarns. A is for apple, And when I was winding the skein up, it splits, so I decided to do these 2 at a time since I had 2 balls of yarn. They look the same, but they knit up quite differently. And so after I did the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, I switched the balls where I was, so I cut the yarn and I reattached the yarn to the opposite sock, and now I think they're gonna make me really happy because they're kind of gonna be true siblings, I think. And I showed them to my mother-in-law and she thought they were beautiful and that my sister-in-law will love them, so I'm gonna go with that. And yeah, this is gonna be a moment after I'm done recording to get that where I can work with it again. Okay, this is a hat heavy episode for sure. My plan is kind of do Christmas gifts until they're done, and knowing me, I will do them until Christmas Eve, just because that's how I am. I'll be like, oh, I've got sock tubes, I'll make one more quick pair of socks for my husband, I'll do this, I'll do that. I you know, that's just how I am, that's how I work. It's not a great quality, but it happens. And then after, I think, the holidays, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, then I will get back to knitting for myself because that's my favorite person to knit for. I don't mind if there's mistakes. That doesn't stress me out the way it stresses me out if there's mistakes in things I'm giving to other people. But I'm making both of my children a hat and a pair of socks. I'm woefully behind. I thought I had a hat for Milo, but I ended up deciding it was going to go to somebody else. So now I have to make Milo a hat too, and then I have to find socks to give them as well. So we'll get there. But for Claire, I'm making the Holly Jolly hat. This is a pattern by Jody Brown of the Grocery Girls. I bought this, I think, 2 years ago. They had their holiday kit. It's DK weight yarn from Flock Fibers, and I kind of showed her the kit came with 2 patterns, the Holly Jolly hat and the Frost Toque. I let my daughter choose which one she wanted with this yarn, and she chose the Holly Jolly hat. I'm going to be making the Frost Toque because I actually think that one looks really great too, but not with this yarn. I will be out of yarn. So she wanted a folded brim, so I made the brim extra long. This color is called Snow Much Fun, and then it came with these 2 mini skeins, and then it just has this great mosaic color work, and I really like it a lot. So you can kind of see the middle one, you can really see the texture it makes. I really like it. Because this yarn has been wound up for so long, I feel like it's coming out a little crunchy and like my stitches don't look great. I think it's nothing that a little blocking won't fix, and I think this is going to be great. So hey, this will be done by next week. It doesn't have to be, but I'm so close that I'll finish it. Another yarn pom-pom for the top because I don't have like crazy colored pom-poms. I kind of tend to stick to like tan and black and brown. That's just me when it comes to like the faux fur pom-poms. Okay, and the last thing I have to show today is I did cast on the Erotilus shawl, the one I don't know how to pronounce, by Jelly Knitting. This was a Lion brand kit that I purchased. I love Lion brand kits. They're sometimes very affordable, and you see exactly what it's gonna look like. I even got the colors that they used for the sample, and yeah, I don't love making it though. So I first thought these might be for the same sister-in-law's birthday as the socks, but I just don't love working on this for some reason. I'm not sure if it's the yarn or the needles or bulky yarn. I'm just not sure. So it's coming along fine. It's just after I get through a couple, so it again, sorry, is mosaic knitting. So you're slipping stitches to create the color work, and it's fine. Everything about it is fine. But for some reason, when I go across a row and back, I'm like, that took a lot out of me. Like, I'm gonna take a break now, work on something else. I think it's bulky yarn. Sometimes it's just not always easy. So here are the 2 skeins. I have 3 of each of these, so I think that was the other thing that made me feel like this is not gonna go as fast as I think it's gonna go. Because sometimes like you think bulky yarn, that's just gonna fly off my needles. It's not flying off my needles. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll give this a couple moments here and there and see where that takes me. But there's no way I'm gonna finish it by Sunday. There just isn't. So I'll probably let this one simmer for a little while. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I still have the getting warmer cowl that I still don't know who's getting that. That might be the thing that I pick up for my sister-in-law to go with the socks, because that would be super cozy. She goes to a lot of sporting events. She's got 4 boys, and warm, and so I think that might be more appropriate, and I think I can get that done. So that's sort of where I'm shifting to right now. I didn't talk about any books last week, so I did want to let you know what I've been reading recently. I finished The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think I just pulled that author name out of the back recesses of my mind. I think I'm right too. I liked it. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. I thought the old Hollywood part of the story was phenomenal. I thought that was great. I loved the idea of this movie star who came from nothing and going through all her sort of romances and her time on movie sets and her ambition. The part that I did not like was the other part of the book, which was the journalist who was interviewing her, and this side story that I thought was paper thin and just didn't work, and forced. I enjoyed it. Every time it pulled out of old Hollywood and into this like modern day story that was very thin and forced, that pulled me out, and I didn't love that aspect of it. That's just my opinion. I also did another series reread. You guys, I'm in comfort reading mode right now. So I reread a series by Holly Black called it's 3 books. I don't know if the series has a title, but so it was The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and Queen of Nothing. And I read these books before, and I liked them. It's a human and fae in fairyland. And what I like the most about the story is the main character, Jude. She is ambitious and not always likable and doesn't always make the greatest decisions. And Holly Black, the author, does such a good job of creating the world of the fae and how they speak and how they act, and that you can't trust them. And she's got a great vision of these worlds. So I'd read a book by Holly Black earlier this year that I didn't love, and I think it's because she's very at home in this fae world, and I really think she does a great job. And also, like, I love Sarah J. Maas's books as well, but Sarah J. Maas makes a meal about everything. I mean, I listen to my books on 1.6 speed, which is pretty fast. So like listening to these Holly Black books, they took between 4 and 6 hours a book, whereas Sarah J. Maas's books still take like up to 14 to 15 hours, even on that speed. So these are much quicker, and I do enjoy them. There's magic, there's fae. It was a comfort read, but if you're gonna read Holly Black, that's a good place to start. I think that's one of her strongest series. And you don't love the characters in the first book. So if you're feeling like, I don't like anybody, it's okay. It's all right. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm still reading The Accidental Archivist by my friend Angela Beer. I'm almost done. You guys, I am sucked into this. It's really interesting. I do think one reason I like it is I know Angie. She makes references to her daughter's dance class, so I know where she is in the world. She also talks about areas in Wisconsin where I live, Marquette University where I worked for 10 years. So there are a lot of places in her story where I can fit in, but it's also just fascinating how she uncovered how through 23andMe she learned about this woman who was adopted as a child and is looking for her father, and they find out it's a Catholic priest in Angela's family, and they're it's a mystery that they're solving. And then also, just a lot about family. I love family relationships and dynamics, and I definitely do think that I am partial to this book because of the things I previously said, but it is really good for a first book and I would definitely recommend it. I'm also listening to another fantasy by K.A. Tucker, A Curse of something. I enjoyed the first book. I am not getting into this one. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because it's not something I want to be reading. I'm not sure, but I'm going to push through it because I have learned in the past if I just push through and start listening while I'm on my walks with my dog, eventually I get there. And sometimes I'll get there. Especially if I like the first book, I'll get there. It may not be as good as the first book. That could be part of the problem. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm just not connecting with it right now. And I've hit my book goal for the year by a lot. I'm rereading, you know, no pressure right now, none. So thank you so much for watching. And I will be back next weekend for week 3 of Vlogmas. So I'll see you then. Bye.